All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into lysine, a nutrient that, often flies under the radar, but is absolutely critical for your health. It's so much more than just another piece of a protein. It's a molecule with some truly surprising abilities. So let me just ask you this. What if there was one single molecule that was essential for building your muscles, for running your immune system, and even for controlling which of your genes get switched on or off? Well, that molecule is real, and it's called lysine. Okay, so let's dial it back to the very beginning. To really get why lysine is such a big deal, we first have to look at its most fundamental role in your body. Lysine is one of 9 essential amino acids, and that word, essential, is really the key here. It means your body just can't make it from scratch. You must get it from the food you eat. Think of it like a very specific, crucial Lego brick. You don't know how to make it, but you absolutely need it to build anything important. And what a foundation it is. I mean, lysine is used to build some of the most critical things in your entire body. We're talking the actual proteins that make up your muscles, the hormones that run your metabolism, and the antibodies that are literally the soldiers on the front line of your immune system. But here's the thing. Just being a building block is really only scratching the surface. This is where it gets truly fascinating. Because lysine has some other jobs, some unexpected functions. And these are what I like to call its superpowers. First up, let's talk about lysine's really unique role in creating energy. See, most amino acids can be turned into glucose, sugar. But lysine, it kind of plays by its own rules. This is where lysine really stands apart. It's what scientists call an exclusively ketogenic amino acid. That's a fancy way of saying it skips the whole sugar-making process and instead breaks down directly into a molecule called acetyl-CoA. Now, think of acetyl-CoA as this master key for energy production. It plugs directly into our cellular engine, the Krebs cycle, to pump out ATP. And ATP is the pure energy currency that powers every single thing your cells do. So this makes lysine an incredibly valuable fuel source, especially when you're low on carbs. But wait, it gets even cooler. Lysine is also a non-negotiable ingredient for making something called carnitine. The best way to think about carnitine is as a little shuttle bus. Its whole job is to pick up fatty acids and drive them right into your mitochondria, your cell's power plants, so they can be burned for fuel. So, let's be clear, without enough lysine, your body just can't efficiently burn fat for energy. Period. All right, superpower number 2. This one's all about a fascinating biological competition. Lysine has a molecular rival inside your body, another amino acid called arginine. And this rivalry has some pretty profound effects on your immune system. Okay, so here's how this plays out. Lysine and arginine are structurally similar, so they use the same doorways, the same transport systems to get into your cells. Now, certain viruses, like herpes simplex, the one that causes cold sores, they desperately need arginine to build new copies of themselves. So when you have a lot of lysine floating around, it basically floods those doorways, elbowing arginine out of the way. The virus can't get enough of its key building material, which makes it much, much harder for it to multiply. It's a really clever, indirect way to put the brakes on it. And now for the final, and maybe the most mind-blowing superpower of them all, lysine's ability to act like a dimmer switch for your very own DNA. This gets us into the amazing field of epigenetics. So your DNA isn't just a loose strand. It's neatly wound around these proteins called histones. And these histones are studded with lysine molecules. Think of these lysine spots as little docking stations. Chemical tags can come in and attach right there, and depending on the tag, they can cause the DNA to coil up tighter, hiding a gene, or loosen up, exposing a gene to be read. It's like a dimmer switch, turning gene activity up or down. And this is how your body controls which genes are being used, all without ever changing the underlying genetic code. It's incredible. Okay, so we've established that lysine is a powerhouse, right? The big question then is, how do you make sure you're getting enough of it? Let's get into the practical side of things, your toolkit. So as you can see, animal products like meat, fish, dairy, and eggs are just loaded with lysine. But that absolutely doesn't mean you can't get what you need from plants. You just have to be a little more strategic about it. Focusing on those lysine-rich powerhouses, we're talking things like legumes, lentils, soy products, quinoa, and even pistachios, is really the key to hitting your target on a plant-based diet. Now, a balanced diet should always be your first stop.
But there are some specific times when a supplement might make sense. This is particularly true for people trying to manage things like recurrent cold sores, or for someone on a very restrictive diet who might genuinely struggle to get enough from food alone.
Now, when we're talking about using lysine for a specific issue, like an HSV outbreak, the studies often look at what we'd call therapeutic doses. And those can be pretty high, typically around 3,000 milligrams or 3 grams a day. That's way more than you'd usually get just from your meals.
But, and this is a really big but, supplementing with lysine is absolutely not for everyone. You have to be careful. People with kidney issues need to be cautious because high doses could put a strain on their system. There just isn't enough safety data out there for pregnant or breastfeeding women. And people with a rare genetic condition called lysine protein intolerance must avoid it. Also, something to know is that lysine can increase how much calcium you absorb. So if you're taking high-dose calcium, you definitely need to talk to your doctor first.
All right, we have covered a ton of ground. Let's bring it all home and do a quick recap of the most important takeaways from this whole explainer.
So let's boil it down. From its core job as a builder for your muscles and skin, to its special pathway for creating energy from fat, to that clever immune-boosting rivalry with arginine, and all the way to its incredible role as a genetic dimmer switch, lysine is so much more than a simple nutrient. It's a true multitasker. So here's the thought I want to leave you with. We started out by calling lysine a simple building block, right? An essential brick. But after seeing how deeply it's involved in your energy, your immunity, and even the very expression of your DNA, you have to wonder, maybe it's not just a block. Maybe it's part of the blueprint itself.